Thank you to everyone. I'd specifically like to thank Aaron and Lillian and, of course, Jason Fuchs for sponsoring this week's Parsha Share in memory of Aaron's father, Jason's grandfather, Heinrich Fuchs, Chaim Shol ben Yitzchak Zichron Lebrocha, whose yahrzeit is on the 12th of Tammuz. And his neshama should have an aliyah. We should be zoche to see Tchias HaMesim, and we should do this in his memory and in his schus. And it's wonderful to have Aaron together with us on the live Zoom. And everyone who's listening to the recording should know that Aaron and his family are wonderful members of our community here in Beverly Hills, maybe originally from New York, but we are so delighted that they are part of our Beverly Hills Kehillah, and it's wonderful to have you joining us here for the share.
Thank you, Rabbi Dunner.
Thank you. So it's Parshas Bollock. It's an interesting and weird Parsha. I'm, by the way, broadcasting from Jerusalem. For those of you who are not aware, my son Meir is going to be joining the Israel Defense Forces, IDF, as a Chayal Boded. And we are now in Bidud, nothing to do with being a Chayal Boded, but because when we got here to Israel and the COVID crisis, the COVID pandemic, is still raging across the world. We are now in 2 weeks of isolation, in quarantine, and we cannot possibly go out. And what that means is we are still on LA time. So, we go to bed in the day and we're up in the night. And until such time as we have to emerge into Israel, that's where we are going to remain. So it's a delight, even though it's currently very well past 9 o'clock at night here in Israel. It's in the middle of the day for us, right? So it's only 1 o'clock or 1:08 in the afternoon in Los Angeles, and that's what time it is for me. And we're going to talk about Parshas Bollock. Parshas Bollock is interesting. It's one of those very rare situations in the Torah where no one who is actually involved in the story, the direct story of the history of the Jewish people, has any role in the narrative that we find in Parshas Bollock. We don't see Moshe Rabbeinu, we don't see Aaron HaKohen, we don't see Yehoshua bin Nun, we don't see the Zikanim, we don't see anyone. The story is really a sidebar. It's a story about Balaam and Balak and their intentions. And all the Mefarshim seem to agree that this is a story about, this is a pivotal moment in human history. What does that mean? That there's something going on here which is beyond the immediate tension that exists between a nation of Moabites who don't want the Jewish people to get into Eretz Yisrael. There's something more going on here. It's not just about this battle which is time-bound to that particular era. Because if it is, what is it doing there? We know that the entire world was against the Jewish people. And that's what we really need to understand. Why did Bollock call upon Balaam? Who was Balaam? What did he try to do? And how are we to understand it thousands of years later, almost 3,500 years later? How are we to understand this very weird narrative and make sense of it in terms of our own connection to God and our own connection to our Jewish identity? So, if you'll forgive me, I'm going to read for you the first few psukim of Parshas Bollock. We're going to start, actually, the Parsha begins at Pisaq base of chapter 22 in Bamidbar. That's where Parshas Bollock begins. But in a sense, the Parsha begins the Pisaq before. Vayisu b'nei Yisrael, the Israelites continued to travel, Vayachanu ba'arvos Moav, and they encamped themselves in the plains of Moab, me'ever liyarden Yerechai, across the Jordan, the river Jordan we're talking about, from Jericho. So they were in direct proximity to where they intended to go, which was Eretz Yisrael at that stage called Eretz Canaan. That's the last pasuk in the previous parsha, and now we're going to begin Parshas Bollock. Vayar Bollock ben Tzipor. Bollock, the son of Tzipor, who's a warlord king in that region at that time, he saw everything that Israel had done to the Amorites. They had got into a battle with Amori and had obviously been successful in a military sense. And Balak ben Tzipor was aware of the Jewish people's military success and their intentions. Vayogar Moav mipnei ha'am, and the Moabites, or Moab, speaking in general terms, were extremely alarmed because of the people. Ma'oid, very, very alarmed. Ravhu, because there were so many of them. The Jewish people was a nation of millions, probably about 2 million people. If it's almost impossible to imagine that, because if there were 600,000 adults between the ages of 20 and 60, male adults, we can imagine that their counterpart, that there were 600,000 adults, women between the ages of 20 and 60, and the calculation is between people who were older than that and younger than that, both male and female, there were around 2 million, 1.8 to 2 million people. And they were right at the edge of Eretz Yisrael. Vayokotz Moav mipnei bnei Yisrael, and Moav was extremely frightened of the Jewish people. Now that's a little curious. I'm not going to go into too much detail at this stage. We're going to get to that later. It's curious because it doesn't seem that at this stage Moav had any reason to be frightened of the Jewish people. There was no evidence or indication that the Israelites had any military or territorial intentions with regard to Moab. But nevertheless, Vayokotz Moav mipnei bnei Yisrael. Says the next pasuk, Vayomer Moav el ziknei Midyan. Again, speaking in very general terms. It doesn't tell us who is speaking. It just says the Moabites said to the elders of Midyan, Ata yelachachu hakol es kol sevivaisenu kilchoich hasher es yerek hasode. Now, this horde, this enormous amount of people, will lick clean everything that is around us, just like an ox, a bull, licks up the grass of the field. In other words, this, I guess we could call it, from their point of view, cancer of a nation, is going to consume us all, and we are in grave danger. Says the pasuk, Bollock ben Tzipor melech leMoav ba'es hahi. So finally we're introduced to who Moav was, to who Bollock was. He was the king of Moav at that time. So Moav and Midyan, who lived in what's today known as the country of Jordan, Transjordan, on the other side of the Jordan from Eretz Yisrael, they as nations or as tribes, I'm not quite sure how to describe them. I'm not speaking here from a historical point of view, but the Torah describes them as nations. Midyan and Moav were extremely frightened of the prospect of the Jewish nation being in such close proximity to them. They felt that they would be consumed. Not clear why, and we're going to get to that in the shir. Vayishlach malachim el Balaam ben Balak, and sent messengers. It seems like Bollock sent these messengers to somebody called Balaam in the English transliteration. Balaam is the way we'll refer to him for this shir. Ben Balak, the son of Balak, Petorah, in a place called Petor. By the way, we have references to both Balaam and Balak in ancient history. We know that there are references to them which have been found in cuneiform writings on rocks which have been dug up in those regions. So we know that they were real people. Petorah asher al hanor. Petorah was on the river, the Euphrates. Eretz b'nei Amoy likroi loy lemoi, in the land of his people, and this, he wanted to call him, and this is what he said to him. Hine, behold, Am Yotza Mimitzrayim, the nation that came out of Egypt. Hine Kisa es ein haaretz. It is hiding the earth from view. They are completely covering the land. It's almost an expression of infestation. That's the way that this message reached Balaam. V'hu yoshev mimuli, and this nation is settled, has come to rest next to me. This is what Bollock sent as a message to Balaam. And the next pasuk continues. Va'ata, and now, l'chana ara li es ha'am hazeh. Please, will you curse this nation for me? Ki otsumhu, because they are too many, they are more than me. Ulai uchal nakeboy. Perhaps, I guess, with the aid of your curse, I will be able to defeat them militarily. That seems to be the underlying message. Va'agarshenu min haaretz, and drive them out of the land. By the way, we're going to spend quite some time on this particular phrase, Va'agarshenu min haaretz. What exactly does that mean? The pasuk continues, Ki yodati eis asher tavarech mavorach, va'asher ta'or yu'ar. I know that you, Balaam, you are an extraordinary individual who has a direct connection with God. In fact, we know from the Talmud and the Midrash that Balaam was considered to be a prophet at the level of Moshe Rabbeinu. He was kind of the counterpart to Moshe Rabbeinu. And Bollock, and I guess everybody else knew that too. And he said to him, I know that whomever you bless will be blessed, and whoever you curse will be cursed. That is the first reference point that I want to put to your attention today. That this was the plan. That Bollock, on behalf of Moab and Midian, approaches Balaam to see whether or not he can get the better of the Jewish nation. Not because, and it's clear here that there's no indication of it, there was a military threat, direct military threat from the Jewish nation, but because they were so numerous and they appeared threatening for reasons that we cannot as yet determine, Bollock wanted to get rid of them, and he felt that the best person to approach, for reasons, again, that we have not yet determined, was Balaam, and he approached him and saw to see whether or not Balaam would agree to help him in this endeavor. We now move on. That was chapter 22, Psukim 1 to 6, Aleph to Vav. We now move to chapter 23, Pasuk Yud. This is taken from the actual words of Balaam that Balaam said to the Jewish nation while he was blessing them, cursing them, whatever he was doing to them. And this is what Balaam said. Mi mana afar Yaakov. Who can count the dust of Yaakov? Umispar esroiva Yisrael, and number the dust cloud of Israel. Tomos nafshi mois yesharim, may I die the death of the upright. Utehi acharisi kamohu, may my fate be like theirs. Now the latter part of the pasuk is something that I focused a lot of attention on in a previous year, and perhaps I will post that as a note in the YouTube or the SoundCloud. It's certainly a very interesting reference. Tomos nafshi mois yesharim. What exactly did Balaam mean when he said, may I die the death of the upright? And the Netziv in Hamek Dover devotes his entire introduction to this book of the Torah, to this idea of Tomos nafshi mois yesharim and what Yesharim actually means. But I'm going to focus on the first part of the pasuk. Who can count the dust of Yaakov and number the dust cloud of Israel? What is Balaam talking about? What does he mean by dust? Why is he referring to dust? What is that in terms of its... In other words, if something doesn't have an immediately understandable meaning, it has no meaning at all. Let's try and understand the meaning of dust in Balaam's world. What does dust mean? We're now going to move to a few psukim later, Pasuk Chof Daled, that's number 24 in chapter 23 of Bamidbar. Hein am kelovi yokum, the people that rises like a lion. This is Balaam talking about the Jewish people. V'cha'ari yisnasa, and leaps up like the king of beasts. Lo yishkav ad yoichal teref, does not rest until it has feasted on its prey. The dam chalolim yishteh, and it has drunk the blood of those it has slain. Again, very poetic. You know, a lot of people focus on this story of Balaam and the words that he uttered when he said what we refer to as the brachos of that he said to the Bnei Yisrael instead of the curse, instead of the klolos. But in fact, it's beautiful poetry. We really only know one pasuk, which we say every morning, Matoivu ahalecha Yaakov mishkanosecha Yisrael. There's a number of other psukim that are quoted in davening, but the vast majority of these psukim are not really something that we focus on in terms of their meaning, and they have deep meanings, as we're going to see today. We're going to look at one more pasuk, and this pasuk is in Tehillim, and it is in Kapitel Kuf Daled, chapter 104, pasuk Kuf Daled. Mo rabu ma'asecha Hashem. How many are the things that you have made, God? Kulam b'chochma asisa. You have made them all with great wisdom. And here we go. Mal'a ha'aretz kinyonecha. The earth is full of your kinyonim, your creations. I'm going to come back to that pasuk. We're going to see that the Mezeritch Maggid has a most beautiful idea with reference to this pasuk that's going to be key to understanding the story of Bollock and Balaam. Now we're going to turn to the Nesivos Sholom. You all know that the Nesivos Sholom is one of my favorites, and that I often devote my share to the Nesivos Sholom, the Slonim Rebbe. And the Slonim Rebbe devotes a lot of attention to a number of questions that arise out of the psukim that I just quoted to you since we began the share. And by the way, I'm going to post this. It's going to be on my website when this share is posted. It's also going to be in the SoundCloud and in the YouTube. So please, if you want to see the Nesivos Sholom inside, I'm not going to say the whole thing. You can see the whole thing if you print it off. I've scanned it to the best of my ability using my scan app on my phone, and you can download it if you click on the PDF link that is on my website or YouTube or SoundCloud. Ve'ata l'chon na'ar aliyas ha'amazeh ki otsumhu. The Nesivos Sholom quotes this pasuk. Please now make sure to curse this nation because they are so manifold. More than I am or we are. Ulai uchal nakeboy, perhaps I will be able to smite them, to destroy them, to annihilate them militarily. Va'agarashenu min haaretz, and be able to get them out of the land. Isa b'Midrash, says the Nesivos Sholom. Va'agarashenu min haaretz. When it says va'agarashenu min haaretz, I will get rid of them from the land. Lo hayom mevakesh elo legarsham shelo yichnesu la'aretz. What was his intention? Says the Nesivos Sholom, his intention was he wanted to make sure that they never made it into Eretz Yisrael. That's what the Midrash says. Says the Nesivos Sholom, v'tzorech biur. How does this make any sense? Madua ikar matoroso es legarsham shelo yichnesu la'aretz Yisrael. Why would one imagine that his primary focus was that he didn't want them to get into Eretz Yisrael? What was his actual fear? His fear was that he would be overwhelmed by the Jewish nation who were more numerous than him. It has nothing to do with them entering into Eretz Yisrael. So why would the Midrash focus on this particular aspect? What difference does it make? In fact, it's a wonderful thing. If the nation bypassed Moav and Midian and went straight into Eretz Yisrael, what difference would it make to him? What does he care? It's got nothing to do with him. Why would he want to involve himself in any kind of confrontation with the Jewish nation simply to ensure that they didn't enter into Eretz Yisrael? Oid tzarich bir, says the Nesivos Sholom. We also need to understand. Mada Omar shelo hoya mevakesh ela. What does it mean when it says that he didn't want to, the only thing he wanted to do was to ensure that they didn't go to Eretz Yisrael? Harei bepasuk kosev gam ulai uchal nakeboy. The pasuk is very clear. It says, I want to destroy them and annihilate them and exterminate them. What do you mean he just wanted them not to go to Eretz Yisrael? That doesn't make any sense at all. That's not what he wanted. It sounds like he also wanted to destroy them militarily. And not that he just wanted them not to enter into the into the land of Israel. So how does the Midrash make this assumption if the assumption in and of itself is contradicted by the Pisaq in the Torah? V'yesh loymar behektem. Let's begin by answering as follows. Biur ha'inyan shebilam omar b'shvach Yisrael. Let's first look at how if we want to understand this entire subject, this topic, let's look at what Balaam said in his praise for the Jewish nation. Mi mana afar Yaakov v'mispa Esrei v'Yisrael. Who can count the dust of Jacob and who can find the number of the dust cloud of Israel? Again, this concept of them being like a lion who rises up and is powerful like the king of beasts. Says the Nesivos Sholom, we need to understand what he's talking about. It sounds very poetic and very wonderful. But again, unless something can be explained and understood, it makes no sense. Why did Balaam choose in particular to give the Jewish nation this praise? And furthermore, Bollock Omar le Balaam al zeh v'hinei berachta barach. It says that Bollock said to Balaam, why didn't you curse them? You blessed them. Why does it say that you shouldn't have blessed them? How can you suggest that these are blessings? They're not blessings. They're praises. They're proclamations of praise. Why are they called blessings? If we want to understand this, we need to understand a fundamental principle of Jewish theology. Listen carefully, this is extremely deep. The greatest desire of God is that he wants to live betachtoinim. Tachtoinim means in the depths. Not in the highest high, but in the deepest depths. Let's think about who God is. Do you know what he has? He has so many angels, Srophim, another form of angel, who are at his beck and call at any time, day or night, and they sing to him and they give him praises in the upper regions, in the heavens. What is the purpose of creation? Listen carefully. This is a fundamental theological belief of the Jewish nation. Shetachlis habriya shel ha'olam hazehi shenis'ave HaKadosh Baruch Hu shetiyeh leidira gam b'tachtonim. The main purpose of the creation of the physical material universe is that God desires that he should be able to live even in this very basic material, physical place that we call Tachtonim. He's not happy, as it were, just to live in heaven. He wants to live b'Tachtonim, ba'olam hachumri, in the physical universe, hashofel, that's low, modura ta'avois heichon sheyesh hiskabrus hayetzahara, in a place where the Yetzahara is in control. That's where God wants to be. How does that work? How does that work theologically? We human beings are in a place where the odds are stacked against us because we're animals and our desires are physical and material. The Yetzirah, as it were, that's the way we refer to material desire, has complete, as it were, control over us much more than any type of spiritual. What is our purpose? Our purpose is, as a Jew, that we should do God's will. As the Maggid of Mezeritch explained the Pisaq that I quoted earlier from Tehillim, he explains the word kinyonecha in a totally different way. Ha'olam ha'artzi, the physical material universe, malei bidvarim, is full of things shenitain liknois bahem es Hashem yisbarach, things by which we can acquire God. Not kinyonecha creations, but kinyonim, things that we can make a kinyon, that we can take possession of, that we can use as vehicles, as intermediaries, as conduits by which we can get a closer relationship with God. All these physical aspects of creation, kasher Yehudi oisek bahem l'shem shamayim. When a Jew is involved with them for the sake of heaven, for the sake of a connection with God, he can acquire God through something physical. There's nothing more inexplicable and yet nothing more wonderful than the possibility of using something physical that seems devoid of God for the acquisition of God. And that, in and of itself, that one thing is the purpose of creation, the primary directive. Everything revolves around this thing. Everything that we live for revolves around this. God desires that he should have a residence in the Tachtonim, here in the physical world. That is why he created the world. That a Jew should elevate them to their purpose, which is for the will of God. Bollock u'Bilam. Who are Bollock and Bilam? They're not people. Yes, they are people, and this was a story. But Bollock and Balaam represent something which is the ultimate form of denial of God in the physical universe. Hem hayu roshei hasitra achra. They are the yang to the yin. They are the very opposite of everything I have just described. They want to undermine that very purpose, that primary directive of physical creation. They represent in the human form everything that screams out against God being successful, in that he wants human beings to access him even in the physical universe. Ubilam hayahakoyach shekeneged leMoshe Rabbeinu. He was the counterpart, Balaam, to Moshe, to Moses. Shahayadas deklipa bebchinas yodea das elyon. He was the opposite aspect. He was the negative. He was the evil, as it were, that he knew the das elyon. Because there's no force in this world that doesn't have an opposite corresponding force. Ubevada yadu. And for sure they knew Shakadosh Baruch Hu oyeves Amma Yisrael. There was no question that the Savior of the Jewish people who redeemed them from slavery in Egypt loved the Jewish nation. On what basis did they believe that they would be able to curse them? It wasn't about the Jewish nation as such. It was about completely undermining the purpose of creation, like Lavan wanted to do. They wanted to destroy God's experiment, God's project. God's project was to prove that even in a place that is seemingly devoid of Him, He can exist. And they wanted to undermine that. It's so powerful because we live in a world, even today, where everything screams out against God's existence, and our declaration, our belief, our faith in God is so powerful because it comes up against such tension and opposition. And this is what Balaam and Balak wanted to achieve. They knew that which God chose the Jewish nation, they knew that through the Jewish nation, God was realizing His desire that He could live in the Tachtonim. And He chose the Jewish nation who fulfill His wishes, and thereby they create the possibility for Him to live in the Tachtonim. What they wanted to do was to create a situation where Balaam would be a mekatreg, sheyisrael oisim neged ritzayin Hashem. They would be able to create a situation where they would be able to undermine the intent of God in the for the Jewish nation. And they wouldn't be able to be the Am HaNivchar. Ubachar b'Yisrael shemekayimim ritzaynai v'oitzin la yisparach dira b'tachtoinim. Lochein, and therefore, Ratza Bilam lekatreg sheYisrael oisim neged ritzayn Hashem. His intention was that he wanted the Jews to go against the will of God, and they shouldn't be worthy of being the chosen nation, and therefore he would be able to curse them. In other words, he wanted to undermine the very purpose of creation. God's intent was for the Jewish nation to be the realization of the creation of a physical universe, by enabling a relationship with God even in a physical place where God doesn't seem to be apparent. And we can see what his intention was. His intention was that he wanted to demonstrate and to display the Jewish nation's sins, to break off and cut off the connection between the Jewish nation and God. And that's why this was the most difficult time for the Jewish nation. This was, in fact, the greatest threat, even though the Jewish nation was not aware of it. It was the greatest threat to the Jewish nation that they had ever known in their very short existence, much greater than any internal threat or threat from Amalek or threat from wherever it was. This was a fundamental threat to the mission of the Jewish nation. Balaam's intention was to uproot them from their very roots, from their very foundation, to throw them away, to destroy them, to eliminate them from their elevated status as the people who were chosen by God, by way of the negative impact of that which he would effect from the heavenly sphere. Uvazeh yesh lefarish masha Bollock ulai uchal nakeboy v'agarshenu min haaretz. Now, says the Nesivos Sholom, we can understand what it means when it says, perhaps I can destroy them. Destroy them, it sounds like militarily, but perhaps not. V'agarshenu min haaretz, I will throw them out. I will divorce them. That's what the word agarshenu means. Min haaretz, from the land. I will make sure that they will be thrown out of the land. What are we talking about? Why are we talking about that if his intention appeared to have been military? He wanted to physically annihilate them, exterminate them. What are we talking about? V'agarshenu min haaretz. Says the Nesivos Sholom, Hainu legarish es shilton hakadusha min ha'artzius. It's actually a spiritual intention. He wanted to uproot the control, the elevated, spiritual, sanctified aspect of the Jewish nation from the physical world. That's ba'agarshenu min ha'aretz, ha'artzius, the physicality, the material. And that's why he didn't want them to come into Eretz Yisrael. It had nothing to do with him. He wasn't under threat. He represented the very opposite of the mission of the Jewish nation. And he knew that by going into Eretz Yisrael, they would fulfill the destiny of God in the physical creation of the universe. Ki hashleimus shel Yisrael, the physical completion, the ultimate realization of the Jewish nation, ha'am hanivchar, as the chosen people, he bechnisosam le'eretz Yisrael, is when they enter into the land of Israel. Ubekiyum ha'mitzvos hatzluyos ba, and by fulfilling all those commandments that are particularly relevant to the land of Israel, which of course they couldn't fulfill when they were still outside of it. When the chosen nation lives in the chosen land, yasigu si hashleimus, they would reach the ultimate level of completion. V'zehu she'omar, and that's what he means when he says, ulai uchal nakeboy, perhaps I can destroy them. Lahakois by atzmai, to destroy their entire identity by taking away from them their elevated status as the chosen nation. What is the advantage, the ma'ala, of being the Am HaNivchar? That they are the realization of God's mission with creation. But if they can't go into Eretz Yisrael, they'll never be able to realize that ultimate promise. V'agarshenu min haaretz, I will remove them from the land, shelo yichnusu le'eretz Yisrael, that they cannot enter into the land of Israel, asher bo asitim meim lahasig tachlis hashleimus shelahem, where they will be able to reach the ultimate place, the ultimate realization of completion that they need to reach in order to fulfill the mission of God. Because only in the land of Israel are they able to fulfill their ultimate destiny. And they will not be able to fulfill it. I will have destroyed God's mission if I prevent them from entering into the Holy Land. And through this, I will have not only divorce them from the land, but from the artzius, nigrasis hakadusha min ha'artzius. I will have undermined God's very mission for this world. Ukediisa, and as it says, she'eretz Yisrael mekadeshes es klal Yisrael, that the land of Israel, this holy land, is able to sanctify the Jewish nation. In and of itself, just by being here, the Jewish nation is sanctified. And that is why God gave the land of Israel to the people of Israel. Because the produce of the land, yesh bahem kedusha, they have in and of themselves sanctity just because they've grown in the land of Israel. And they are able to infuse sacredness, sanctity, and holiness into the Jewish nation. Liyaisam gai kadosh, so that they can be a holy nation. By virtue of the fact that they are sanctifying themselves from the holiness of the land of Israel, miperais Eretz Yisrael, from the produce of the land of Israel, umeha'artzius shel Eretz Yisrael, and from the physicality, this elevated physicality of the land of Israel, she'i kodesh, that is a holy place. The land of Israel is holy. It's designated as holy. It's on a level above any other country, any other physical location geographically on the planet Earth. V'lochein ikar hisgabrus hasitra achra. Haisa shaloi laniach liYisrael yikones la'aretz. What would have been the ultimate success, the victory of the Sitra Achra? What would it have been? That the Jewish nation should never get into Israel. Because ultimately, by the Jewish nation living in the land of Israel, they are able to elevate physicality into spirituality. The possibility only exists if they are in the land of Israel. And the ultimate desire, the intent of Bollock and Balaam was, let's make sure they never make it into the land, and they're never able to achieve that objective. To prevent them from elevating the physicality and materialism of the physical world into a spiritual status. This is very powerful. They have no problem with the Jewish nation doing Torah mitzvahs. No problem at all, as long as it's not with the intention of elevating physicality to spirituality. Do a mitzvah, as long as it's got nothing to do with God. Keep kosher, no problem, we don't mind if you eat kosher food, as long as it's got nothing to do with God. Daven every morning, no problem, as long as it's got nothing to do with God. You want to shake lulav on sukkahs and sit in a sukkah? No problem, it's a cultural thing. It's got nothing to do with God. Bollock and Balaam have no problem with that, as long as it's not nothing to do with God. And we said before from the Mezeritch and Maggid that the world, the physical world, is full of the opportunities of making a kinyan on Hashem. When the Jewish nation, any Jew, gives himself over for anything that he does, physical, material, but he dedicates it to God, he can acquire God in that way. And as we said, God desires to have a physical presence in the Tachtonim. Not necessarily with things that we don't do and that we abstain from, but also with the things that we do. In the physical things that we do, the food that we eat, and the things that we say, and everything that we do in our life, the most mundane of matters, we can acquire God with those. In everything that we do, in every way that we conduct ourselves, we can bring ourselves closer to Hashem by allowing God to live in the Tachtonim. And this is what it means when it says, sorry, I'm just struggling here. Afar Yaakov umispa Esrei Yisrael. And this is what it means about the dust. Mimona Afar Yaakov. What does it mean? Mimona Afar Yaakov. Kamosha Mefarish Rashi. Shemiyochalim nois es kol mitzvah sheYisrael mekayim be'ofar. Who can count, says Rashi, all the mitzvahs that the Jewish nation does with dust? Hey mitzvahs hateluyos ba'aretz. We're talking about the mitzvahs which are contingent on being in the land of Israel. Vein afar Porah, and also the ashes of the Porah Adum of Afar Sota, and the ashes of the Sota. V'hainu, shedavar shofel ka'ofar, even something as lowly as dust, ashes, Koi Kodesh can be so holy, Eitzel Yisrael, for the Jewish nation. V'yesh lehem boi kol kach harbe mitzvahs, and with them they can do so many mitzvahs. The mere dust of the land, the ashes, they can do so many mitzvahs. Shal yodom meroimimim es kol hanyonim artziyim ashvelim l'Hashem Yisbarach. Via that they can elevate so many material things to God. V'chein u'mispas roiva Yisrael. And that also explains shafilu inyonim elu eitze Yisrael hem b'kedushas ilois kol kach. Anything which seems to us to be lowly can be on such a high level. Kol anyonim sheba'olam hem pechusim u'shveinim b'yoseh. We can say, who cares? I went to sleep. Who cares if I went to sleep? You know what? If you went to sleep to give you strength so that you can be a devoted servant of God, and that your faith is increased when you wake up in the morning, you can say, Elakai, neshama shenasata bi tahirahi. Your sleep is elevated. Suddenly, anything that you do is at the highest possible level of sanctity and sacredness. And then he says, I wish I would be able to die the Mos Yesharim. He can only say this once he's stressed the point that even with the lowest level of living, I can elevate myself. And Balaam is saying, he's expressing this idea. Because he saw the elevated sanctity of the Jewish nation, and specifically he knew when they enter into the land of Israel. And then we need to understand what the Pisaq means when it says, Heim am kelovi yokum ka'ari yisnase lo yishkav ad yochel teref. So we now need to understand what that means. It says, the beginning of Shulchan Aruch. What is it? First thing it says in the Shulchan Aruch Orach Chaim, it says, when you wake up in the morning, Yisgaber ka'ari. You should make yourself strong like a lion. La'amoid ba'boiker, to wake up in the morning. La'avodas b'orei, to worship, to do the service of your Creator. The Chosav Azeh HaRamah, and the Ramah says about this, Keshishim ha'odam, kesheyosim ha'odam aliboy, when a person puts onto his heart, Sha'melech hagodol HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that the great King God, Asher mola kol ha'olam, kol ha'aretz kvodo, that the entire world is full of His honor, oimed alav, when you are aware of the fact that that God is standing over you. At that moment, all the levels of awe and of submission will wash over him in his fear and his awe of God. And he'll know that even when he falls asleep, who is standing over him. The concept is Shemarumaz Bazeh, Shatanai Lekayim. Hinted in this is that the condition by which you can fulfill your Judaism, your mission in this world, is Yisgaber Ka'ari. Make yourself strong and mighty like a lion. La'amoid ba'boiker, to wake up in the morning. Yosim Adam Aliboy. That's what it means. That you know who it is. That is the purpose of your existence as a Jew. And Balaam knew it only too well. Balaam knew that the Jewish nation's power is this incredible enthusiasm for God, even in a world that denies God's existence. We do not lie down until we have beaten and eaten our prey. Our prey being the Sitra Achra, the Yetzer Hara, she'im beshichva mishkova yada lifnei shehu shoichev. If even when we lie down and fall asleep, we know who it is that is standing over us. Oz yochel lisgaber ka'ari baboker. Then of course we will know when we wake up who is our God, and we will be able to be mighty like a lion in the morning. That is the great battle that took place between Balaam and Balak and the Jewish nation, even though the Jewish nation wasn't aware of it. Even though the Jewish nation had no concept of what it is that they were up against. Bollock and Balaam knew very well that the future of God's mission lay with the Jewish nation's success in the material world that would be ultimately realized in the land of Israel. And therefore they wanted to ensure that that experiment would fail. They wanted to ensure that the project would be over before it began, and that there would never be a Jew who would be mighty like a lion, that there would never be a Jew who would rise up in the morning and be ready to welcome God into a physical, material world where his existence isn't immediately apparent. They failed in that mission. And we, as a result of that failure and our knowledge of their attempts to undermine that mission, are aware of what is expected from us and what it is that we need to do. We will leave it here. Thank you so much.